The loved ones of Racheal Abraham spent part of today with the ghastly task of talking to funeral homes as they stagger through their grief to plan for her burial. Racheal is the Portland woman murdered last Saturday, allegedly by her ex-domestic partner. He'd been jailed earlier, charged with beating her up and strangling her. But a group who thinks the bail system is unfair, called the Portland Freedom Fund, bailed him out. 7 days later, Racheal Abraham was dead.
Oh my God, yes. It was last Sunday.
On a quiet porch in Northeast Portland, loved ones of Racheal Abraham remembered the 36-year-old the Carter family called Mouse.
Racheal was, she was quiet if she didn't know you, but once she knew you, she would talk a lot. And she was she was shy, but she wanted to become outgoing.
Dee Dee Williams-Mott was like an auntie to Racheal. She said Racheal had a rough childhood that began in Louisiana. Eventually, she and her 3 siblings were placed in foster care in Eugene. She met a member of the Carter family at Lane Community College.
Yes.
And was welcomed in.
But it was a joy to have her around. We all have her around. You know, she would come. She was just like one of the grandkids. She came through the door, you know, and the baby came in, and we all was hugging and kissing on her. And she and Mario would just come, have a seat, have dinner with us, like there was no different.
The extended family suffered tragedy together back in 2006 when Racheal's sister was murdered in Lincoln County. The Scanner newspaper ran a story on it and featured Racheal, then 21 years old, mourning her younger sister. 3 years later, she married Mario Abraham.
Very kind-hearted, lovely person, lighthearted. Loved to joke around during conversations, and very easygoing person.
They had 3 children together, but the marriage did not last. Still, Mario said eventually they worked out a friendly co-parent agreement, and he was not concerned when Mohammed Adan first came into her life.
Not at first. You know, it seemed to be a normal relationship between the two. It wasn't until, you know, probably last year or 2 maybe that, you know, we learned that the relationship had started to turn abusive. And nobody really knew the extent of it.
But over the last couple of years, his daughters began to tell him about arguments, and he could hear yelling in the house when he talked to the girls on the phone. And then DHS showed up at his house.
Yeah, they informed me on the extent of the abuse and how frequently it would happen, and you know, when police were called over. That's how DHS came to me, because I'm the father of 3 of her children, so they, you know, informed me what was going on in the household, and I made a decision to stop letting them go over there.
And did you worry about her safety?
Absolutely. Many people around her, you know, once we started finding out, you know, little things after the other, we started advising her to, you know, do something, you know, separate yourself from, you know, try to not let them in the house. And after a while she did. She got a restraining order, and you know, eventually got him out the house, but you know, that didn't stop him from contacting her.
Court documents show police went to Racheal's home May 2nd of this year. She told them Adan had punched her in the head 2 times while she was laying on the couch. He was apparently angry that a female friend had texted Racheal. Then, on June 23rd, police were back. Despite the restraining order, Adan was at the home and had mistakenly been let in by a young daughter. Court documents show that Racheal told police Adan broke her phone and blocked her path, preventing her from leaving the home. That he placed her in a chokehold by pressing down on her windpipe, according to the documents. She told police she had been foaming at the mouth and believed she was going to pass out. She said he did that a total of 5 times during the night. Adan was arrested, then let out of jail before being arrested again on July 26th, when he removed his GPS monitor and went back into Racheal's home. All the abuse allegations, all the danger signs were there for anyone who chose to look. On August 19th, at a bail hearing for Adan, the judge set bail at $20,000. The next day, the Portland Freedom Fund bailed Adan out, and 7 days later he was back under arrest, charged with killing Racheal. Mario, her ex-husband, is stunned.
When I found out the news that they had bailed him out, it was pretty unbelievable. You know, given the rap sheet that he had, you know, with violent acts towards her. is just, I don't know how any more negligent you can be regarding someone's safety.
Do you blame them for her death?
I don't think anybody who views the story cannot blame them for her death.
Dee Dee Mott Williams, the auntie, is furious.
But they hurt our family tremendously.
And by they, you mean the Portland Freedom Fund?
Yes, the Portland Freedom Fund hurt us tremendously. We can never get her back. Never. There's not enough apologies for us to get rid of that pain that we have.
She told me she supports the idea of helping black and brown people make bail for nonviolent crimes, but wants Portland Freedom Fund held accountable for the death of Racheal Abraham.
Oh, I definitely believe they caused it. If they had not bailed him out of jail, she would be alive today.
The district attorney's office is also furious the Portland Freedom Fund bailed out Adon and is asking the court to force the group to pay the entire bail amount. The DA's office had originally asked for $50,000 bail. The judge lowered it to $20,000, they tell me. Bailing someone out takes about 10% of the total amount, so Portland Freedom Fund paid $2,000. Now the DA's office wants them forced to pay the entire $20,000. And speaking of money, Racheal's family has started a GoFundMe to help pay for her burial expenses. We have a link at kgw.com if you'd like to help.